So when we're thinking about physical affection and relationship and all things in relationship, we need to think about love. What is love? Love is to will the good of the other person. So if we're willing the good of the other person, we would never put them in a situation where anything could happen to their soul. Because especially as men, we are required to protect the women in our lives. And as a result, it's not because they can't protect themselves, but under that masculine protection, they are able to let their femininity bloom. Okay, so as a guy, it's not even worth asking the question, how little is too little? It's just, how can I sacrifice myself for that person? And if they're doing the same thing for you, you'll be happy. If they're saying, how much can I look out for that person's soul? And you're saying, how much can I look out for that person's soul? I can't imagine there being any problems. So I think the question to ask is, what is love? And love is willing the good of the other person. Does that answer a little bit? I agree, to become prudish and that whole attitude of, to be a Puritan is to actually reject the body. The body's bad, don't touch me, get away from me. You're disgusting. That's the whole attitude of, don't come near me. That's not what we're called to, but we're called to be aware of boundaries in relationships. And it's something we need to talk about, because if you don't talk about boundaries in relationships, they'll come crashing down. Okay, so if you're willing the good of the other person always in a relationship, you will be happy. That's the best I can do for you. So there's a bit of a guideline I go by, and you need to dress as ugly as physically possible. It's that simple. Does that help? No. In all honesty, I'm not going to give guidelines on... I've got my own opinions, but we'll get in a big war in here. So I'm not going to give guidelines as such, but just ask yourself that question. What is my body language telling, guys, when I go out? And it might be even a good idea to ask someone. There's a reason why your dad says, you're not wearing that out. Because he loves you and he's willing the good of you, okay? So start listening to the people who really care about you. Okay, I'm not going to give guidelines on exactly what is appropriate, what is not, because we'll be here all day. So, can I get away with this? Yeah. So just ask yourself that question before you go out. How is this going to make, or how is this actually not make, how is it going to allow men to treat me? It's more a positive way to look at it. How will this allow me to be treated with the true dignity that I deserve? Okay, there is a book called Dressing with Dignity. I can't remember the author. And it might be a good thing to read. You probably read it and you think, my gosh. But there is some good standards in there, and if you read it with an open heart, it might give you some pointers, just some little things you might be able to change. But we won't get into a bloodbath here. I've got a flight to catch tomorrow. So. This is a good question, because with many relationships these days, people wait and they wait and they wait and they wait. Why are they waiting? They're waiting for financial gain, circumstances to become better. I can't think of any other ones really right now, but they'll be waiting. Often it's for a monetary thing. And you can't get married with nothing, but I'm sure, you've got a father who could pay for a wedding, possibly. But that's the idea. Because your husband's probably got no money, Yeah, future husband. So in that context, when you're thinking about marriage, if you think I'm ready for marriage, do not put it off for financial reasons. I've got a good mate who got married in Albury. It must have been about 2005, first year of uni. Met a girl who he loved her with all his heart, so much so that he married her within about 8 months from meeting her, or six to 8 months. So then they now have, I think it's 4 beautiful little children. There's 4 little children that would not be in this world if they had waited until he finished uni. I think he's just finished this year, or he's about to finish. So you need to weigh up, okay, am I ready for marriage? Have you sought advice? Seek advice from people who are married, who have good marriages. So what is marriage all about? You know, this is what I'm thinking. Don't keep it all between the couple. When you're thinking about marriage, you need to seek outside counsel from people who have experience with marriages. People say, oh, why on earth would I ask a priest? He's never been married. But who do people go to when their marriages break up? Who do they go to for advice when their marriages don't work out? They have seen what doesn't make a marriage work, so I'm pretty sure they'll be able to tell you a little bit about what does make a marriage work. Okay, and seek advice from those people who are married. But if you're thinking about putting off a marriage for the sake of greater financial gain, I would say no. My personal opinion is I would not do it. Because if you are ready for marriage, you are playing with fire if you put it off for 5 years or however long. Does that answer it a little bit? Yeah. So there's a bit of terminology with dating versus courtship. What does it mean? Often people can get caught up in the terms, the terminology. Really, words often, they sometimes don't mean that much these days because people make up their own meanings for them anyway. So, when we're talking about courtship, we're usually talking about you are working out whether you can marry that person. Okay, so you've gone through the steps, like I said in the talk, where you've worked out whether he smells. Still getting a laugh, it's good, we're milking it. I think it's nearly dead though. Okay, you work out whether he's going to be a good father, whether, you know, what are his friends like, what's his family like, all those important things, you can ask all those questions. Then at that point, if you decide, I can see myself possibly marrying this person, you've done everything you can in that situation, then is a good opportunity to, if both people are getting along quite well, to say, you know, I can see so many beautiful qualities in you which I would love to see, you know, as a wife or as a husband. But it should really be, actually I'll clarify that, it should be the man approaching the woman. Don't ever chase a guy. It doesn't mean you're stuck up or you're prudish, but you make a guy work for you. If you're worth chasing, then he'll chase you for your whole life and he'll be with you forever. Okay, so we've clarified that. If you're getting along and you've been sending him enough language to say he thinks, well, I think she likes me, and you've worked out, you think, I think that could be someone that I could marry. You go and you speak to them and you say, you know, there's so many beautiful qualities in you. I've enjoyed spending this time as, you know, friends and in this group of friends, but, you know, I would like to take you out on a date, you know, and say it's on a date. Don't say, do you want to go somewhere? Because you've left it too, you know, it's rather bland and, you know, it's not very romantic. But it also allows her to know that you're taking her seriously. If he doesn't say this is a date, bring 2 of your friends and see what he does. Okay? See how much he really likes you, okay? Test him out. Okay, but courtship is about seeing whether this person is someone that you could marry. Dating tends to be, and like, you know, you can be dating someone and you're thinking about marrying them. It just depends on the terminology you're using, but often dating can be used as the term of, you know, we're hooking up, you know, or we're seeing each other. It's a really common thing these days, and it basically means neither of them know where the hell it's going. But they don't want to admit it. Okay, so courtship means that you are, you know, you've moved through that stage of friendship, and you're into that stage where you think, okay, we're really working towards now as a couple, and, you know, and it's open and everyone knows about it, that, you know, we're seeing whether we can be compatible for marriage when we start to spend more time together. Does that answer your question?